So this problem here, we have a total number of students represented by T who traveled for spring break. And there are two groups of students, one group that flew to their destination, represented by the variable F, and students who drove to their destination, represented by the variable D. The number in thousands of students who flew and the total number of students who flew or drove can be modeled by the following equation, where n is the number of years since 1995. So T is equal to 14n plus 21, and F is equal to 8n plus 7. Right. The first step here, or part A, is asking us to write an equation that models the number of students who drove to their destination during this time period. Now, we can write this equation because we know that the total number of students is equal to those that flew plus those that drove, right? So now we have an equation for those who flew, and we have an equation for those who, the total number of students as well. So we can substitute those into this equation. But before I do, maybe I can make a little, I can solve for D by subtracting F from both sides of the equal sign. That's leaving me with D is equal to T minus F. Right, moving the F to the other side, or those students who flew to the other side of the equal sign. So if I go now and substitute in 14n plus 21 for T and 8n plus 7 for F, this is what I'm going to get. 14n plus 21 minus 8n plus 7. Right. And so how do we solve this problem? Well, we'll go ahead and write them both in standard form over here. We'll get 14n plus 21 minus 8n plus 7. So we have 14n minus 8n, that's going to be 6n. 21 minus 7 is going to be 14. So this is my equation for D. D is equal to 6n plus 14, right? That's for part A. So I'm going to write over here D is equal to 6n plus 14. Now part B asks us to predict the number of students who will drive to their destination in 2012. Well, we have an equation for those who are driving. We just need to know n. And what is n? N is the number of years since 1995. So how do we figure out what n is? We're going to say n is equal to 2012 minus 1995. And that's going to equal to 517. Okay. So now to find out how many students will drive to their destination in 2012 according to this equation, we just substitute in 17 for n over here. So let's do that. D is equal to 6 times 17 plus 14. Right. And if we run that, we'll get 102. So equals 102 plus 14, which is equal to 116,000 students, right? So over here, we're going to say 116,000 students. Now, it's asking us how many students will drive or fly to their destination in 2015. Well, how do we figure that out? We need to figure out what n is now, right? So n for the second situation is going to be equal to 2015 minus 1995, and that's equal to 20. And now we're going to figure out how many people drove. We need to figure out how many people drove and flew. So let's go ahead and substitute in 20 for n on the drive. Right. And this is our equation for the drive right there. So D is going to equal to 60 times 20 plus 14, and that's equal to 120. 134 is how many people drove. Now how many people flew? Well, we're going to take that 20n and we're going to stick it in here, right, for T to find out T. And so 20 times 14 is 240. 240 plus 21 is 261. Okay. So we have 134 and 261, right? So this one is going to be the students who drove. This one's going to be the thousands of students that flew. And that is our answer and how we solved this problem.